Our next program is to have a word from Bishop Erkolano Lodu, representing the Catholic Bishop of South Sudan.
Your Grace, Archbishop Charles Daniel Balvo, Apostolic Nuncio to Kenya and South Sudan. Your Grace, Archbishop Lodu, the Archbishop of Juba, and our dear Auxiliary Bishop of Juba, Bishop Santo Lapupio. My dear colleagues in the Regional Secretariat of South Sudan, the Monsignors, in a special way, our dear brother with us here, Monsignor Mark Kadema, who has just joined us, whose life we have begun to know a bit, and maybe he has also somehow known our life in the short time he's here. Brethren and representatives, the clergy, religious men and women, our dear lay men and women, as you have heard it, I stand here on behalf of the bishops and monsignors of South Sudan Catholic Bishop Secretariat. There are 7 dioceses, and so there are 7 people responsible in these dioceses, together with the clergy and religious men and women and the laity. It appears that all of us are around here. Probably, I don't know what is happening with Torit and maybe Ambio, but they seem to be the only 2 who are missing in these 7 dioceses of South Sudan. Before I go ahead, I would like to say a word of gratitude to Archbishop Paulino and Reverend Father Charles Abud for having very, very quickly, at a short notice, organized this sitting to welcome our nuncio and also say farewell to him. I will not be going long. What has been said is only to be added, perhaps with what might not have been said. I take the word from what the Archbishop said it. The nuncio, Archbishop Balvo, since his appointment, he has always been very, very close to the bishops of South Sudan in their meetings every time when they meet. He never left the Secretariat alone. We are still one bishops' conference, but for pastoral reasons, the bishops of South Sudan can organize their own pastoral programs in order to let the church move forward, guided by the presence of the bishops. Likewise, also Khartoum, the Sudan could be doing the same, having their own secretariat as a metropolitan for Sudan. And so here we are on behalf of this secretariat of our bishops in South Sudan and of our lay men and women, the religious men and women and the clergy, Your Grace, the word of gratitude is the word that can be said. It is the only word. If there was another word, we would add to thank you very much. But there is no word more than that it has been said. His Grace, the nuncio, I am sure, we have no doubt, is not the first bishop, Archbishop Nuncio in Kenya. There has been already nuncios there. But I have this point of maybe a pride, why not? If it is good pride based on truth. We are very proud in South Sudan that Charles Daniel Balvo is the first nuncio of South Sudan. We never had it before. Kenya can call him what they want, a successor of other nuncios, but for us in South Sudan, this is the first nuncio. And he has marked history, the history that will never and never be forgotten. This to me is a milestone in the life of the church in this young nation, beset as it is with wars. I also feel like saying the nuncio has tried his best to visit all our dioceses. He has been very generous. I think he should have visited all our dioceses, maybe except Yei. So you will understand what is happening in Yei and why the nuncio did not go there. But the nuncio has his heart also there. He was invited twice. One reason he could not, for duty calling him outside, the nunciosure, but the other one was simply because of the sickness that he developed, and you need to take care of that in order to get cured to come back among us. But you can say that for whatever reason, the nuncio has always been with us in our dioceses, encouraging the bishops, the clergy, and our laymen and women. There is a point of importance and of concern for all of us. When Nuncio Charles Balvo arrived to South Sudan, there were 3 dioceses without bishops. And on this note, the Archbishop Nuncio never left us alone in the effort to make sure that this diocese had bishops. Now that the Nuncio is leaving, he is leaving us with 4 dioceses without bishops. The Nuncio did not make that. That is not the Nuncio's making, no. I mean, all of us are here together. That means also we bishops. When the Nuncio came, we had 3 dioceses without bishops. We and the Nuncio together, all of us. Now that he is going in that situation, leaving us in the situation of 4 dioceses without bishops. Maybe this is a point of a reflection for us, not really to be said, but a point of reflection, and putting it in a form of faith and prayer that the Lord may guide this church with new shepherds of these dioceses which are right away now without bishops. The Holy Father, Pope Francis, in 2014, when we were invited by Propagation of the Faith, the bishops of Sudan and South Sudan, he was aware, he knew of the situation of these dioceses which had no bishops. And the Holy Father said, a diocese without a bishop is a bad diocese. The Nuncio was present. Also the Nuncio of Khartoum was present. A diocese without a bishop is a bad diocese. Now, when we went just recently in September and we had the audience, we went for a living at this time, well, the Holy Father is aware now that it is 4 dioceses now without a bishop. And so the Holy Father knows it very well. And he was saying, a diocese without bishop is not a church. So we reacted that Your Holiness, we understand when you told us 4 years ago that a diocese without bishop is a bad diocese. Now we understand more that it is not even a church. So you see, brothers and sisters, it is a matter of reflection, and we have to be people of faith. There is nothing done deliberate. Efforts are being done, but I think really in all these efforts we leave the whole matter at the end of it to the disposition of the higher authorities and to God and the Holy Spirit who guides and leads the church. So I think this is a note our Nuncio has taken. It pains him a bit. I think it is still paying us, but it doesn't discourage us. This is what the situation is, and this is our very situation. At the same time, if I would like to mark something of great important achievement for our Nuncio, he was the Nuncio of 2 nations, Kenya, South Sudan, but only also 1 secretary based in Nairobi. 1 Nuncio, 2 nations, 1 secretary, 2 nations. I think our Nuncio saw the need because connection between Nairobi sometimes was very difficult. And his cry to be close to people of South Sudan was listened by the Holy See, especially Secretariat of State, that appointed a secretary of our Nuncio here, a secretary with residence in South Sudan, our dear Monsignor Mark Kadima, who is now staying here with us. That is the effort of the Nuncio. The Nuncio is closer to us ever than. So I think we are moving forward. We should not be discouraged. Let us see that things will move. And our hope, your grace, you are leaving us with war, yes, but with hope. Our great hope is that as you go, you will work hard together with Monsignor Mark to make sure that there is Apostolic Nuncio in South Sudan, not in Kenya. That is our hope, that is our prayer, and if you are Catholic, it is also our right. We accompany your grace with our prayers. Please remember us in our situation. The Czech Republic is a part of what used to be called Czechoslovakia. Slovakia is now another country, so the Czech Republic, you are there. Your grace, you are not very far. We shall keep in touch, and may God bless you and take our greetings. And we accompany with our prayers, and God bless you.
Well, that is a powerful word from Bishop Erkolano Lodu Tombe. Thank you very much. With that, I take this opportunity to invite Monsignor Makadima to come and give a word.
Your Grace and Archbishop Apostolic Nuncio Charles Daniel Balvo, Your Grace and Archbishop Paulino Lodu, His Lordship Erkolano, His Lordship Santo, all other distinguished Reverend Fathers and Reverend Sisters, as well as all the other guests. I am here, as you have been told, to say a word of thanks to our departing Apostolic Nuncio. For me, there are, among the many talents he has, 3 qualities that have impacted on me, and I wish to imitate them in as far as I can. Number 1 is his spirit of quick adaptability. He's able to adapt to very difficult circumstances and to bear them. That is, to me, very difficult, because I have been to some places and some of them are really hard. I'm consoled when I go there to realize that he was there. And as you know, when you invite the Apostolic Nuncio, he will eat anything you set before him. As the gospel says, he just eats. He will not complain or say, this is not for me. No pride, no arrogance. He just adapts and bears that. Even when he goes to places, there are some places where, he was a city boy. He was born in the city of New York. So, some places, I say, the city boy, how do you manage all these places? He just adapts and lives with that. To me, if I can have a bit of that spirit of adapting to various circumstances that are difficult, I would be very happy. The second thing I've learned from him, and I even asked him today, what is the origin, the fruit, what is the source of your patience? Is it your parents or spirituality? He told me it is all those. So, all the above. So I always say, for me, I was born after 6 months. I couldn't wait for 9. No, because I'm not able to wait. Now, he can wait. And I said, for you, you just don't wait. You wait happily. No, because, there are people who can wait, but complaining, grumbling, it's too much. No, but he doesn't. He just waits and smiles. If I can be like that, a bit, just have that patience to wait, and not only to wait, but to wait happily. Not to overburden those who are with you, I would be very happy. Thirdly, the thing that I've learned from him particularly is the spirit of understanding, especially with regard to me. Here, a great help in setting up the Nunciature. He came to the Nunciature yesterday for the first time, and I felt, even right now, you can see the way I'm speaking, I'm a happy man, isn't it? Yes or no? I'm a happy man, because he told me this place is wonderful. I felt so happy. And I want to tell you, the Nunciature that is here is wonderful. No? So if you have not come there, you are welcome. If the Nuncio can come all the way from Nairobi to say it's wonderful, how about you? Come and see, okay? So that spirit of understanding that someone has done his best to try and put up something, and you appreciate that. It is very encouraging to see something positive in others. That is what I have learned from this Nuncio, among other things. Now, also, I thank you. At the same time, I would like to thank those who have made it possible for him to work here, particularly the Archbishop of this Archdiocese, Paulino Lodu, his auxiliary bishop, and other bishops, especially the bishop, the Archbishop. There was no Nunciature. And whenever the Nuncio came for all these almost 5 years, he resided at the Archbishop's house. And there, I can tell you what I saw. The fraternal life that is there, the welcoming nature, and with Sister Nata, the food in abundance. No? So I thank all of you who have made it possible for him to be a success in this country, to work, to serve us, and even when he got sick, to have prayed for him until he recovered, and now he is leaving us, but in sound health. So, Your Grace, Archbishop Nuncio, when you go anywhere, you are leaving this place as you came in good health. You are not leaving South Sudan where people will say he went there when he was all right and he got sick there. Now, you got healed, and when he's living here, he's living happily, in sound health, in mind and body. And so that is what we would like to remember you, that you came a strong man and you are living a strong man. So I am happy for you, and all that you have done to help him, please do the same to help others like myself, so that we can continue serving you. Okay? Thank you very much. Yes, now I'm being told also, and that I have to obey Abu Charles, who is also a very wonderful man, as you know. He's worth obeying, isn't it? So I am told that Your Grace, Archbishop, Apostolic Nuncio, Charles Daniel Balvo, please welcome to say something.
You may not stop me once I get started.
Your Grace, my Lord Bishops, Monsignors, Reverend Fathers, Reverend brothers and sisters, Christians, all of you are gathered here. God is good. And all the time. And that's his nature. Wow. Now in Kenya, they don't always say and that's his nature. They just stop, God is good. But I always like to emphasize, and that's his nature. Wow, because there's a diocese of wow here in South Sudan. And then we have the other one, the diocese of yay, which in the United States is a way of cheering. You know, you go to sports stadiums and people saying, yay, on goes with the team, yay. But I never got to yay, unfortunately, because Bishop Erkolano had prepared I think it was about a week-long pastoral visit at the end of November in 2015. But we had another guest come, and I had to cancel, and that guest was Pope Francis. He invited to Nairobi, and then to Kampala, and then to Bangui. So I was not able to fulfill that promise that to go on that pastoral visit, but eventually I wasn't able to do it. But Monsignor Mark, in the meantime, has been able to go to Yei town. I was appointed as nuncio to South Sudan on the 21st of December in 2013. I had been in Nairobi since the previous April. And just a week before that, the violence had broken out. So I was appointed just a week later. So I was able to speak to His Grace either that same day or the day after, just to introduce myself at least on the telephone. And then he mentioned that the bishops would be meeting in January. It ended up being a plenary meeting. They were discussing the seminary. So I was also able to meet the bishops from Sudan, as well as the ordinaries in South Sudan, except for Bishop Adwak, whose passport had been sequestered, so he couldn't travel to South Sudan. So that was my first visit. And you know that just 2 months later, Cardinal Turkson came, now the head of the dicastery for the promotion of integral human development, to try to see if we could do something as the Holy See to promote peace. And we came and we dedicated the St. Joseph Church on that day, because it was March 19th, occurred during that week. So we met with the government, we met His Excellency the President. On another occasion, I was here in April 2016 when Dr. Riek Machar came back from exile, and he with Archbishop and others, we went to J1 and he took the oath of office, and 2 months later, as you know, it all fell apart. So, as they have mentioned, I have had the opportunity to visit in some ways 6 out of the 7 dioceses here in South Sudan. And indeed, that day when I arrived, the date I don't remember, it was towards the end of January in 2014. It was all here, you had it all set up. There was a big crowd at the airport, first of all, coming from Nairobi. Then we came here, we had a welcome. So it was a very warm introduction to life here in South Sudan. And you did the same when Cardinal Turkson came. We came and we had a welcome here. So I have never felt unwelcome in any place. And as was mentioned, yes, in Juba, I always stayed with the Archbishop, and in any of the other places with the bishop or with the ordinary or some other place that belongs to the church, some of the places with solidarity. So I have been, in this almost 5 years, been able to see a lot. Obviously, there are some regrets. Now, the Bishop Erkolano, you are only telling part of the story, because in fact, of the 7 dioceses in South Sudan, we are responsible for changing 6 out of them, because even Archbishop Paulino has submitted his resignation, and even you have. So we have the only one still in function is actually Bishop Hibaro in Tamburiambio. So we have lots of work to do. Now, some of those things are on the desk of Cardinal Filoni in Rome. So unfortunately, I've learned that in Rome there are no bishops made in July, August, and September, and now there's the synod in October. So they take their time as well. But in any event, we are working and doing what we can in order. We realize, yes, the Holy Father said, "Un vescovo senza un diocesi è un male." A diocese without a bishop, it's an evil. So we are trying to correct that evil. And one of the paths, if you will, for that is sitting right next to the bishop, is Monsignor Mark. Now,